You're 22. You just got your first real paycheck, the first one that wasn't from a summer job. And you're sitting in your car in the parking lot, looking at the number. It's not much. After rent and the phone bill and the loan, there's barely anything left. And right here, in this exact moment, you're about to make one decision. It'll take you about 10 minutes. You will basically forget you ever made it. And 18 years from now, it will be the reason your life looks nothing like your friends. So let's make the move. And then let's fast forward and watch what it does. Here's the move. Before you spend $1 of that paycheck, you send a small slice of it somewhere you can't easily touch. An investment account. A few $100. You set it to repeat automatically every single payday. And then you do the one thing almost nobody does. You leave it completely alone. That's it. That's the whole move. It's so boring, it barely feels like a decision. Your friend Dylan, same age, same job, same paycheck, laughs when you tell him. He says he'll start investing later, when he's making real money. He's not being lazy. He genuinely believes later will be easier. Remember that, because we're going to come back to Dylan. So why does this tiny, boring thing matter so much? Because of the one ingredient you have at 22 that you will never have this much of again. Time. Money you invest doesn't just sit there. It earns. And then the earnings earn. And the longer it runs, the more the growth starts coming from the growth instead of from you. At 22, you've got almost 2 decades for that snowball to roll before you even hit 40. The amount you put in barely matters yet. What matters is that the clock started. Dylan's clock hasn't. And every year his stays at 0 is a year he can never buy back, no matter how much money he makes later. Let's roll it forward. You're 25 now, 3 years in. And honestly, it's underwhelming. You check the account sometimes, and the number is fine. Not exciting. Some months the market drops, and it actually goes backwards. And you feel a little stupid for caring about a few $100, while Dylan's out enjoying his 20s. You upgraded nothing. Same modest apartment, same used car, same automatic transfer, quietly going out every payday, while you barely notice. This is the part of the story nobody makes a movie about. Because for years, it just looks like patience with no reward. But under the surface, the snowball is already bigger than you think. It's just still small enough to ignore. Now you're 30, and something has shifted. You cross 6 figures in that account. And for the first time, the math gets a little unbelievable. In a good month, the account earns more than you put into it. Read that again. Your money is now out-earning your own contributions. You didn't work harder. You didn't get some secret. You just refused to stop for 8 years straight. Around now you get a raise, maybe change jobs. And instead of inflating your whole life to match, you bump up the automatic transfer and let the rest improve your living slowly. You're not depriving yourself. You're just always one step behind your own income, on purpose. And here's where Dylan re-enters. He's 32. He's doing well, actually, finally making that real money he talked about. And he finally starts investing, exactly like you did. Same amount, same accounts. He's proud of it, and he should be. But there's a problem he can't see yet. And it's not about discipline or income. It's about the 8 years. You have a snowball that's been rolling since 22. His is starting from a standstill at 30. He's not behind by the money he didn't invest. He's behind by all the growth that money would have earned by now. And that gap doesn't shrink over time. It widens. Every single year. it widens. 35. The account is doing something that almost feels unfair. The yearly growth, in a decent year, is now bigger than your entire salary was at 22. You're not rich in the magazine sense. You don't look any different in the grocery store. But the fear is gone. A surprise bill doesn't ruin your month. A bad week at work doesn't feel like a threat to your survival, because you're no longer one paycheck from the edge. You've quietly built a version of yourself that the world can't push around as easily. And the move that bought you that was made 13 years ago by a broke 22-year-old who almost talked himself out of it. Now, 40. This is the part we fast-forwarded for. So what does the one move actually look like 18 years later? You wake up on a normal Tuesday, and you have options most people spend their whole lives wishing for. The account isn't a lottery jackpot. It's better than that, because it's stable, and it's yours, and it's still growing whether you show up or not. It's the size of a paid-off house, sitting quietly in the market, throwing off enough that work is starting to become a choice instead of a sentence. You could take the lower-paying job you actually like. You could take 3 months off and not panic. You could be there for your kids in a way your own parents physically could not afford to be. That's what it really bought, not a yacht. Freedom, and time, and the ability to breathe. And Dylan? Dylan's fine. I want to be clear about that, because this isn't a story about him failing. He started at 30, he stayed consistent, and he's in a better spot than most people his age. But he's 40 now too. Same income you have, same discipline, putting away the same amount every month. And his account is less than half the size of yours. Not because he did anything wrong after 30, because of the 8 years at the beginning, when his snowball sat still. He'll spend the rest of his life working a little harder to close a gap that one decision at 22 would have erased, for free. When you talk about it now, he says the same thing every time. I wish I'd started when you did. So let's be honest about what this story is really about, because it's not about being a genius investor. You weren't. The 22-year-old who made this move didn't know more than Dylan. He didn't make more money. He didn't time the market or pick the perfect fund. He did one thing Dylan didn't. He started. And then he got out of the way and let time do the heavy lifting. That's the entire secret. And it's almost insulting how simple it is. The hardest part was never the money. It was believing, at 22, broke and unsure, that something this small could possibly matter this much. Now here's the part that actually matters to you, watching this. Maybe you're 22 right now, and you just got handed the most valuable asset you will ever own, which is time, and nobody told you what it was worth. Or maybe you're past that, closer to Dylan's starting line, feeling that little sting of the years already gone. If that's you, listen. The gap is real, but the worst possible move is to let regret talk you out of starting today. Because there's a second version of this story, the one where you're 50, looking back at 40, wishing you'd started now. The clock is always the most valuable thing you're holding, and it's always quietly running. The 22-year-old's move wasn't special because he was young. It was special because he refused to wait for a better moment that was never actually coming. If this changed how you see the next paycheck, even a little, stick around. We've got a whole series on the quiet decisions that bend your entire life without anyone noticing.